All right, starting off with some pin squats. I'm only gonna do these for 2 more weeks. Excuse me, 1 more week, and then last 2 weeks I will do pause squats just to get myself a little bit more used to getting out of the hole without the pins. It's not gonna be a long time to acclimate to pause squats, but I think it's still worth doing. Um, the pin squats have been extremely beneficial in terms of fixing my bar path. Um, Not that it's perfect, but it's significantly better than it was. After the meet, I'm going to continue doing them. Got a nice pre-hinge going here. Later on in the week, my pre-hinge is a little bit weaker. Just not as used to it yet, so I'm not as locked in with it. Um, but we're getting there. I've kind of accepted that this meet's not going to be my best squat meet, and that's okay. Here's some speed deadlifts. I let my back get a little floppy on these, maybe a little bit more than I'd like. After the meet, I gotta sort of rejigger how I'm setting on my back. Um, can try to bend more around the top more, and keep the mid and low back a little bit more neutral. Not that it's bad, but it's flopping a little bit, and that's just loss of force transfer that we don't need to be doing. Block pulls, it's fine. Uh, let's see, I've only got. Yeah, I'm not gonna go. I hit 415 the previous week. I'm not gonna go any heavier than that. Um, yeah, being a high hip deadlifter, block pulls really weird, and I don't know if they're that beneficial. If I'm being honest. All right, here's bench. This went well. Nothing really to report. I've been pushing the intensity on bench mostly because I'm worried about detraining, and also because I can just get away with it. So I'm a pretty weak bencher. So there's no real fatigue cost for me doing a lot of bench, I'm noticing. The only cost I'm noticing with all my high volume pressing stuff is it's beating up my elbows by way of low bar squats. So if my chest is tight, then I can't get my back into the proper position, and then the bar ends up sitting on my elbows basically, which screws me up. Not a new problem, but a problem I was hoping I was avoiding by getting skinnier. Not the case, unfortunately. All right, here's my big squat set, 1x8 with 290. Been doing this little false unrack thing. It's been helpful getting my back into position. But yeah, as you can see, my pre-hinge isn't that good, and my elbow position isn't that good on these. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this set. The last rep felt terrible, but only looked bad. So I'll take that as a win. Yeah, I just wish my hinge was a little bit better. Uh, but I was also getting really tired. It's hot, and these ain't easy. These high rep sets, but it's my last set of 8 that I'll have to do. Here's my big squats after. Um, yeah, once again, the elbow position on the walkout's bad. But I'm happy with how these moved. I've got 3x2 at this weight uh, this coming Thursday. So, not too worried about that. Here's pause deadlifts. These are easy, as they should be. After the meet, I gotta switch these out. Probably for just RDLs, flat back RDLs, maybe round back RDLs. I gotta figure out how to get my spine a little bit less floppy. But yeah, these are just aggressive and fast. But it's speed deadlift week, so they should be. This is what I wanted to speak on this week. Visualization is something I use, especially before big sessions, usually like rep sessions or just heavy sessions, just trying to get my mind right. When I'm stretching, I'm just kind of thinking intentionally about what the session the next day is going to feel like. What are some cues to look out for? I'm kind of imagining myself doing that, getting my back tight for squats, getting that hinge going, stuff like that. It just helps me keep more in the zone. Um, Sometimes I can overdo it where I'm just overthinking, and that makes me anxious. Leads to bad sleep, bad performance. So there's a middle ground where you gotta think about it and stay in the zone as much as you can without overdoing it and whacking yourself out. One thing I like to do is use music. So for example, when I'm trying to go like aggressive with my squats, I have a song that I like to listen to. So I only listen to that song when I'm doing those heavy squats, and I know, okay, I need to get angry and get aggressive here so that I can complete the squat. Um, so that it's not necessarily visualization, but that helps you get into the mindset of lifting heavy as well. So that's my go-to, like third attempt or a big squat set song, something like that. This is what I was listening to over the week. I like it. I'm not the biggest fan of the vocalist of this band. I got to be honest. He's a little too. Kind of reminds me of the guy from Protest the Hero, uh, which should be a compliment, but for some reason in this case it isn't. I don't know. I'll get used to it. I like the rest of the music. It's kind of like new metalcore, I guess. I've been sort of in a new metal phase, so it's kind of what I've been listening to. Here's my email for coaching. I'll coach for free, just trying to learn, get better. So if you're looking for a more collaborative process where I'm learning and you're learning, hit me up.